we just thought it would be a great opportunity today to talk through one of the inspiring projects that we've been up to. And obviously everybody knows that last night was the Super Bowl, a huge event that happens every year in America. One of the huge things that are part of the Super Bowl are the commercials during the ad breaks. And there's definitely lots of ad breaks in NFL games. So Victoriano and I have been exploring this article and project by FiveThirtyEight, which is a fantastic data journalism magazine and website, and they have some really, really talented journalists who've actually inspired a lot of us to get into data journalism. And this one in particular is really, really interesting. We were already talking about looking at a project for Super Bowl adverts, and Victoriano stumbled upon this article, and it's actually a really impressive data set, mainly compiled by Ryan Best and a couple of his colleagues. So it seems like the staff at FiveThirtyEight have been very, very diligent over the past 20 years, and they've sat down, watched 233 adverts from the 10 brands that appeared most in 21 Super Bowls. So they've sat down and they've rated according to the following scales. Was it trying to be funny? Did it show the product right away? So did the brand or did the product appear within the first 10 seconds of the commercial? Was there an element of patriotism in the advert? So mentions of farms or the military or something that was really driving Americans to be proud of their country. Did it feature a celebrity? Did it involve danger? Did it include animals? So this could be fictional animals, animations, or real life animals themselves. And obviously, did it use sex to sell its products? So really, really interesting article here. So one of the main things that I guess the article was attempting to do was cluster these adverts together. So the collection of adverts, were there any kind of similarities between the findings that they made? So FiveThirtyEight have tried to pull together some clusters here, and they've outlined a few, such as this one, adverts that were dangerous and not trying to be funny at the same time. And additionally, we have patriotism and celebrity, which is quite an interesting one, although maybe Victoriano will show you how we found something a little contradictory here. And trying to be funny, sell with sex and animals, which they draw attention to be the most worrying cluster. And I think what was really, really positive and what we were really inspired by is, again, that they've posted this on GitHub. And immediately when we found that out, we took the data and we thought, well, how can we produce something a little bit more advanced using Graphext, and is that possible?
Yep. So what we did, basically, I'm going to share my screen now. We took the data set that is on GitHub, put it into Graphext, and in Graphext, very easily, you can just go to models, and we basically did a simple clustering. I was curious about why they decided to select or highlight these clusters, whether they were the most common or they just were interested in like these combinations of being like danger and not really funny. I mean, why would you do that in an ad? I guess that's something interesting. That's why probably they did it. But I mean, I was really interested in understanding what were like the most common combinations and how these combinations are evolving over time, and how these combinations also can be attached or not to one brand versus the others, right? So that's why we took at this original data set, and very easily we selected all these variables that are the features of the ads, like funny, showing the product quickly during the first 10 seconds, patriotic, celebrity, danger, animals, using sex. We put it here. Yeah, that's it. I mean, we just click on continue, execute. After you do that, in a few minutes or in a minute, you get this project. Okay. So I'm gonna show you a few of the things that really catch my eye at the very beginning when I got this result. So one of the things is that here, I mean, we have like how prevalent each one of these features that they design is on the ads. And I created this variable where I just show like the positive one, like when they appear, like the true, right? So that, I mean, it's easier to compare. And if you look at it, you will see like the feature that is most common is that these ads are funny. So almost 70% of the times, the commercial are funny in some way, right? And then you see that showing the product during the first 10 seconds is also very prevalent. And this one surprised me, like up to 36% of the commercial, you have animals. And I found it interesting because look, it's even, they have more commercials with animals than with celebrities. That's something that, I mean, I wouldn't think. I guess it's because animals are cheaper, even though I know that there are some animals for commercials that are very expensive to get. And there are also celebrities. At least in Spain, we have a small dog, Andy, called Pancho.
Yeah.
That have appeared in many commercials. It's like a dog that is very cute, but at the same time is very smart. Is able to act. I really do good acting. I don't know if they had something similar in America, but I was surprised by that. And then you have danger, celebrity, sex, and patriotic. Okay, so but as I was saying, Graphext has many things that makes very easy to do simple questions. For instance, I went to compare. And I wanted to see comparing brands. Like actually, I wanted to compare Coca-Cola, that is well known in the entire planet, with Pepsi, that is, big competitors. And automatically I get out of all these features where they differ the most. I found this very interesting because as you can see, we see that the main difference is like in the commercials from Coca-Cola, from Pepsi, sex is very present. It's almost half of the time you have like sexy girls or something sexy, while in Coca-Cola only have one commercial that I watch, and maybe we can show it later, that is actually not that sexy. It's actually like a parody of sexy, while Coca-Cola is actually betting more on putting animals on commercials. It's like almost 60% of the time you will see an animal on a Coca-Cola commercial, right? Both show their products very often in the first 10 seconds, right? And also it's interesting that Pepsi was huge in the Super Bowl from 2000 to 2005. Something that I think we forgot to mention is that we only have here like the 10 top brands that have more commercial over the last century, right, Andy?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So that was one of the first things I noticed when I picked up the data set is, hang on, there's only 10 brands here, whereas we did a quick Twitter search earlier and people are talking about so many brands, there's so many commercial breaks in the Super Bowl. But I suppose sort of committing yourself to sitting down and observing every brand is quite an arduous task. So what they've done is focus on the 10 main brands. So the 10 brands that were appearing most over the last 21 years.
And look, I think this is super interesting. This is actually the recipe of that in Spain, people talk a lot about like the recipe of Coca-Cola is a secret. I think this is worldwide, like an old thing, right? So here we have the recipe of the ad for Coca-Cola and Pepsi. And the recipe for Pepsi, at least, is funny ads plus sex. So it's like the 40% of the ad is a combination of funny and sex. And you see that Coca-Cola don't have a single ad like that. I think like at least I'm not an expert on marketing and commercials, but at least to me, Coca-Cola always represents like a very conservative brand, right? With Santa Claus, right? Like and not that much. While Pepsi is like the underdog and they play, like more aggressively with young people, sex, music, and that type of things. So, like I remember football players doing commercials in Spain with Ronaldo on an airport. I really like that commercial I love it. And you see, like, however, the formula, some of the main formula for Coca-Cola is animals plus product focus, like showing a lot of the product, like a Coca-Cola and animals. And then you see, like, also funny ads plus celebrities plus sometimes animals. That's also very typical in a Coca-Cola ad. Sometimes also like 20% of the times in Pepsi, but it's more Coca-Cola. And only showing the product, that's very Coca-Cola. And that's something that at least like is also something that I would say that that's true, right? Like I'm very used to see just like the Coke with someone drinking it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I'm also wondering as well, just having a quick look at the Coca-cola. They do have quite a lot of animals in their adverts as well, which is something maybe you would associate with Christmas, particularly. I'm just wondering off the top of my head how many of these animals are polar bears, because they always seem to be presenting this 3D animation polar bear in their adverts as well.
That's true. Look, I wanted to remark also, like, the main combination, that is something that I didn't see, at least in the FiveThirtyEight article, is that the main combination is funny ad plus sex. So that's like represents like almost 20% of the ads, like using sex and something funny. And then is funny ads plus some celebrity plus or maybe animals. So I mean, and we saw that the big majority of the ads are funny, right? Like I guess that people are being entertained during the Super Bowl, right? And it's normal that you probably want to make it funny, right? But I was really impressed by this because in my imagination, at least, I think that many of these ads in the past were considered now like something like sexism, right? Like denigrating women, like showing women in sexy, like something like a trophy, right? And I was curious is this was a trend that is changing or not, right? So it's very easy to filter out just here clicking on this ads that only have sex. We can see just here that is becoming less and less common. But I think that you save on insights another.
I'll just change it to my stream just now. So I just quickly prepared this share chart in the trends panel, and we can see
I can play here
is representing where sex has not been used, and the orange values is where sex has been used. And across the bottom axis, we have 2000 all the way up to 2021, and you can see basically that sex has almost been wiped out as a commercial device in the past 3 years. I think there was just one ad in the data set here, and possibly two here, and then none. Sort of.
I mean, it's incredible because we're like just 20 years ago, like it was almost half of the ads contain some kind of sexual reference, and now it's like very few. And I watch a few of them. This is something I'm gonna show how to do it because we're gonna share this project so anybody can play with graphics and filter out replicating the same insights that we're showing here. And look how easy it is to do that. So I will click on sex, and now I can go. Well, I can easily here filter out just, for instance, you see like the few that we have since 2017. I mean, we just have one actually. That is this one from Pepsi. That I open it. By the way, you can open the ad just by clicking there. You can also go to details, and in details you can find like the link to the YouTube for the Super Bowl ads. And I watched it, and it wasn't really that sexy. I mean, it was just like you have a Stephen Carell, and you have this lady that, I mean, yes, she's like dressing very well and kind of different from this other lady. Probably that's why they label it as using sex, but it's very different from other ads that you can see if you select like again sex. The
Kia advert. There's Kia adverts are using a lot of sex. We found that, didn't we?
Yeah. Let's open any of this one. Like I'm opening just one random ad. But you see, like already this frame is telling us a lot, right? Like dressing in bikini. This is clearly like something that today, like people, you either do this as a parody, or like, or people won't take it seriously, or they will be like denigrating women stuff, right? So I think that's why I think this data set is so interesting, because you can actually see how commercials are adapting to the new values, right? So how, like when people react to things, years later, you see an effect on culture, right? Like maybe these ads changing society, but society is also changing the ads, right? So I think that's super interesting.
Definitely. I just wanted to pick up as well, because one of the things that they drew attention to in the FiveThirtyEight article, I'll just share my screen quickly and show you. This aspect here, was it patriotic?
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's
one of the things that we definitely expected to find was a lot of patriotism. Is something America's really famous for. The Super Bowl is one of their sort of highlights of the year. We hear about it all the time. It's definitely a central point of some aspect of American culture. So we decided to have a quick look at how patriotism was used. And I think if I've got an insight saved, I can have a quick look how patriotism is used. It is dropped over the past 10 years. So we can see this is where patriotism has been used in adverts, and it wasn't that prevalent. Sorry, it hasn't dropped in the last 10 years. It's grown in the past 10 years, but had a little drop last year. And I think I was really tempted to kind of draw conclusions in my head, saying that maybe because of the election this year, that there was less, because the elections already happened, there was less patriotism used. But I don't know if you have any thoughts on that one, Victoriano. We definitely expected to find more patriotism, but didn't find quite as much.
That's super interesting. And at the same time, turns out there is somebody on Twitch that says that he's been working for Pepsi in Miami, and he says that their focus is moving from music or concepts to celebrity girls. That is actually another of the insights that I found very interesting. Maybe let me. I'm sharing my screen again, right? So this is something that I found is the only thing that actually that is increasing over the years. I think that insight is here. I put all these different things. You see, like, again, yeah, patriotism is increasing as well, as you said.
Yeah.
But also celebrities. Look, I think I made an insight on that here. Where is it? Yeah, this one. So maybe I think that probably this has something to do with the new era of social media on Instagram, where we have like more people following new influencers that maybe are cheaper to put on advertisement, or or maybe just people are more interested in celebrities, are more role models. I don't know, but it's true very clearly that lately there is a bigger focus on celebrities in general. Something related to what you just said about patriotism also comes to my mind when we compare Bud Light with Budweiser, that are both brands are from the same parent company, right?
That's right. Yeah.
But we can see that like Budweiser, they has a big focus on patriotism. I think it's actually the brand that make more ads on patriotism, while Bud Light is more like kind of funny or danger. So they make more fun. So Budweiser kind of play more with the concept of the patriotism. Yep.
Yeah, definitely. And I think because both of these brands were the two that sort of have had the most adverts in the data set over the past 20 years, then this is definitely quite an interesting comparison. Obviously selling the same kind of product, but very different approaches to doing so.
All right. So anything else that comes to your mind, Andy?
I'm just having a quick browse through the insights in case we've missed something absolutely key.
In any case, as I mentioned, we're going to share a link to anybody that, by the way, anybody can register for free on Graphext. We have freemium accounts, and this project is shared under the public team. So anybody can go here and check this project on your own and replay the insights and even replicate it. If you click on recreate, you can actually like create very, very easily. And again, and also the data is available for anybody. Maybe I will say that another day we will check this other visualization behind me. Maybe people are curious about what it is. this is actually, I look like the weatherman. So this is actually the migrations between counties in the US. So the nice thing is that I cluster these counties by the, like how often the people moving between these places are connected. And it's very interesting that I got like these clusters that are connecting the East Coast and the West Coast, so through the state of New York. So like, because that means that many people like from New York, they have bigger chances of moving to the West Coast, to California, for instance, than to Florida, for instance, right? That is over here. Um, and here you have Texas, that is also like a cluster on its own. That means that the people from these counties really don't leave that area. And also you see the same thing on the north. I guess that's the area of Chicago and the, I don't know more about. I don't know the very well the geography over there, but there must be a reason. So if any American is listening to this and is interested in data, is more than happy to participate with us interpreting this other project one day.
Definitely. And I'll just say as well, a big thank you to FiveThirtyEight for publishing the data set in the first place. We've had a lot of fun analyzing it. And if anybody else does decide to take this project on and give it a bit more analysis, please let us know. We're going to publish a blog post kind of summarizing some of the insights, and you can just get in touch with us if you decide to carry on the analysis. And we'd be really interested to hear if anybody's developed it in some way.
Yeah. This guy in Net Living is saying that it would be very interesting to compare this with a strategy branding plan. It's true. Yeah, I mean, the difficult thing is getting the data. So that's why projects like this one made by FiveThirtyEight labeling this content is very interesting. I'm planning to do something with TV shows in Spain. And actually, the other day I asked for help on Twitter for people that wants to help me to label. I'm getting from Wikipedia. Like you can easily get all the shows for the last 20 years. That are around 800 shows produced in Spain. And we're thinking about how we can label it so that we can actually see these changes in trends over the years in culture. So that these type of things are super interesting. So if you're interested, you can search Net Living, our Twitter account and blog, and subscribe. And maybe helping us to label that data.